Atlantic City reopened for business on Friday. We were in a queue of traffic going through a checkpoint when the police suddenly moved aside and the Atlantic City Expressway was open again. We drove into the downtown unfettered and met a man who wound down his window and said, "Why are all these cars coming into the city?" And we said, "Because it's just reopened." And he said, "Well, good, I'm going to go and get a breakfast. I've been trapped on this island since Monday." So that was his reaction to news that the city had reopened. If you look behind me, you can see the end of Pacific Avenue. The traffic lights are on. There are some cars down there. The first of the Big 12 casinos have begun operating once again, but we don't think there are terribly many tourists in town. And certainly earlier today we went to visit some mom and pop businesses, some small businesses that operate along the boardwalk here or very close to it, and they were preparing to get underway once again. Some of them had power, some of them didn't, but they're looking forward to getting back into business. Take a look. Gambling on customers returning sooner rather than later, Shafiq Mohammed is setting out his stall on Atlantic City's famous, if a little faded, boardwalk. Shafiq worked in the big casinos before opening his first store on the boardwalk 15 years ago. Now he has 6. Hurricane Sandy's cost him $42,000 in lost revenue this week alone. Not surprisingly, Shafiq can't wait to see the tourist trade come back, especially as the number of visitors to Atlantic City has been falling in recent years.
We used to have a 37.5 million people come in the city, but as the recession starting, and then we have slowed down, and we have right now 7 to 9 million people come in the whole years.
A stone's throw from the beach is the Piccadilly pub. Wendy Russell and her family have been running a chain of bars with the same name since the 1920s. Wendy says though they weren't flooded during Sandy, they did lose power and have been forced to throw away thousands of dollars worth of food. She says customers are contacting her on Facebook to find out when she'll reopen. Locals who work in the casinos and tourists from out of town.
I think probably the casinos opening helps us, definitely. I mean, you get those people that come down, they'll gamble for a little bit, and then, like I said, for a cheaper beer, cheaper drink, they come to the pub.
Both Wendy and her team at the Piccadilly pub and Shafiq at his shop on the boardwalk are hoping tourists will hear that the big casinos are up and running once again and will return to this seaside town swiftly, hopefully as soon as this weekend. John Terrett, Al Jazeera, Atlantic City, New Jersey. And we got some new figures today about how much all this is going to cost to clear up the whole of the mess in New Jersey. Economists reckon around $15 billion. We thought it would be between 10 and 20. Well, today they specified $15 billion. And here in Atlantic City, economists at Deutsche Bank have worked out that the city is going to lose about 25% of its revenue compared to the same month last year. And every day the big casinos have been closed cost the city around $5 million. So they've been closed for 5 days pretty much. You do the math.